ladies and gentlemen, welcome your faces to another, that's right, another Little Nightmares video. I know it seems like so long ago since we made a Little Nightmares video, but we're making one today, and of course we're going to make some in the future, but obviously we're going to have some gains in between that, so don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. But anyway, let's talk about Little Nightmares, and today I actually want to talk to you all and confirm some speculation going around about some of the extra content that concerns the 2017 comics. And in today's video, we're going to talk about them and what the comics hold, or the possibility of what we've lost. So let's begin with, what are the original comics? You know, what are these old comics that everyone's talking about, everyone in the Little Nightmares fandom? Well, to avoid confusion, it's nothing to do with the recent released comics from Bandai Namco. From this point, I will be referring to the 2017 comics as the, you can't see the quotation marks, but old comics. You can hear the quotation marks, can't you? Anyway, the old comics were a comic series published by Titan Comics, written by John Shackelford and Tiago Ribeiro. And if you speak Portuguese or from Brazil, let me know how bad I pronounced that in the comments below. Anyway, the plot was created by Alex Packnagel, who worked on games like Arcadia and Assassin's Creed, and Dan Watters, who also worked on games such as Limbo and Assassin's Creed. So it was safe to say the lineup from Titan Comics was very great and talented, and had more than enough experience to provide us with some top quality content. We got to see two comics in the series from Titan Comics. In the first issue, we see Six meet a group of children at a campfire. She's invited to share the story of her past, but remembering it, she remains silent. One of the boys then shares his story, showing that monsters live not only in the moor, but everywhere else in this universe, of course. With the first issue, we get a little look at some of the most interesting characters from the comics. The North Wind, the Ferryman, and the unnamed boy who travels around with what is believed to be his sister in the story, but later you come to realize that this is in fact the Ferryman. Some fun little information you can have here is actually the boy that runs in the comics. We can actually see him in Very Little Nightmares as one of the collectible pieces. In the second issue, returning to the children around the campfire, Six learns the past story of the child, well, we'll dub the Hunchback Kid, covered in cloth, and the one who we couldn't see the face of in the comics, and their story is heavily focused on the mirrors due to the curiosity of her friends. This is where we meet the group of young friends as they venture into an abandoned house. In this comic, we get to see the introduction to one of the greatest enemies, I think, in the franchise, the Mirror Man. Some fun bit of information for you again is that we see a return of this character in Very Little Nightmares, so we know so far that the Mirror Man and the Ferryman and the refugee kid from the first comic are in the Little Nightmares world, so they're not lost completely. So far within these two comics, we get introduced to the following characters: Six, Gnomes, Twin Chefs, Boy in Green, Refugee Boy, Long-Haired Girl, Hunchback Kid, Bandage Kid, Leeches, the Ferryman, the Bread Boy, the Janitor, the Lady, Refugee Boy's younger sister and villagers, and the North Wind. The boy who got tall, and the boy who got forked, and yes, forked means divided into two parts, by the way. The boy who got strong, and the Mirror Man. Quite a list of characters to say the least, and some of these characters still play a massive part in the current timelines of Little Nightmares. But let's get real for a moment. Let me bring your mood down and your disappointment straight through the roof. Let me explain to you why it doesn't matter anymore. I know it's a shock, but there is a reason why I haven't really included a spoiler warning in this video up until this point. And that is basically because I do not believe that the 2017 comics are canon. Sad, I know, but I recently came to that conclusion with all the information that we've heard about the comics in the past from Bandai and the cancellation from Titan Comics. I think it is safe to assume that these comics are no longer canon anymore, and with the release of Bandai's new comic, that cements the idea even further. Not to mention that the team actually did state online somewhere, but I cannot find it for some reason, but they have stated somewhere that they were not canon. So if anyone remembers the article, please post it down below, because I will pin it if I see the right article that contains that information or a post. So let's talk about the removal, the decanonization, if you will. One can only speculate the reasons on why it was removed. I've thought of ideas on all ends of the spectrum, from anything such as revealing main characters too early, to something along the lines of, hey, we could make a show out of this story, and even the possibility of a breakup between the team and the publishers. But alas, we have no idea. But of course, being Little Nightmares fans, we're used to this, as we know about not having the Little Nightmares show, which, by the way, is still not cancelled. It's just in development now and is essentially stuck. I think there might be like some kind of disagreement with the creative process and who to go to for everything, but again, I don't know. That is well above my grade. I have no idea. If any information does come out, you can be damn sure we're going to do some videos about it, that's for sure. So, with all that being said, where does that leave us with the Little Nightmares comics and the content from it? Well, it doesn't leave us with much. As I mentioned the characters earlier, due to the old comics not being canon, we are going to lose a good chunk of them. And let me just quickly list the characters that we are going to lose. The boy in green, the refugee boy, long-haired girl, humpback kid, bandage kid, the bread boy, but only in the sense of his dialogue. So we know he still exists in the world, because obviously we see him in Little Nightmares. But now any dialogue that he had with Six is, nah, that's it. Ignore it, totally ignore it. But we'll also lose the refugees boy's younger sister, the villagers, the North Wind, and the boy who got tall, the boy who got forked, and the boy who got strong. Quite a list of characters to lose. Some of these names are very big and impactful in regards to theory crafting in the community, and especially with myself. I mean, at one point, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you'll know the inside joke of me claiming everything is the North Wind at this point. Okay, but with all that being said, let's talk a little bit about the characters that were removed from the comics, but are still within the current game Little Nightmares, and as I've mentioned, Very Little Nightmares as well. And everything published by Bandai is considered canon. You could safely assume that. But it got me thinking, the grand scheme of things now, Bandai Namco and the team can do what they like with these characters, and could this possibly be another set of ways to introduce them formally, for instance in a DLC, or perhaps even in the next installment of Little Nightmares, or even a follow-up to the new comics? Who knows? But one thing is for certain now, the old 2017 comics are not canon. So back to the drawing board, ladies and gentlemen, we have a few more theories to recraft. But the good news is we can still link the refugee boy and the ferryman and the mirror man, because of obviously their existence in Very Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares as in paintings and collectibles. So we can happily assume that they are still part of the world, so we won't write them off just yet. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and if you want more Little Nightmares content, make sure to let me know in the comments below. And again, any interaction you do with this video, share, like, you know the drill. It helps me so much, and it helps the channel grow. And of course, with more growth, it means I can spend way more time doing videos about Little Nightmares and other games. So again, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit subscribe. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you the best morning, day, or night, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next theory video.